Greetings, Facebook family. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Kelly Ballard. This is what I represent. It's my brand. If you know me, you see me around, see me about, especially in the city of Youngstown. I'm here to talk about some of the events that I've been posting about on my page, about energy vampires and about destiny swapping, and how this occurs, how to try to deal with this situation and extricate yourself from this type of energy swapping or destiny swapping. Basically what it involves being able to navigate yourself through the dark night of the soul. Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know the brand that I represent. It's the brand I represent. If you know me, especially if you're from the city of Youngstown or Newcastle or Cleveland, Ohio, you've seen my brand. You know what I'm about. I'm going to go into detail a little bit. The red stripe represents the blood of Christ that he shed for my salvation and my success. Pretty simple. Everything else is in black and white. Okay? Give you a little bit background information on me. My name is Kelly Ballard. I'm from Youngstown. I no longer reside in Youngstown, but occasionally I do business in Youngstown. That's how you guys are familiar with me. But a lot of you guys are familiar with my family, the last name that I carried for most of my life, pretty much. But I'm specifically here to try to help people, specifically the people in the Youngstown area, because your whole city is under judgment right now at this time. And the reason why is because there are a lot of demonic forces that are residing in your city right now in the form of cults and covens. And I'm on here because a lot of these people and so-called leaders are causing trauma bonds in people. Some of these people are trauma bonded to the point where they cannot extricate themselves from the entrapment of these demonic forces. So I'm here to try to help people who want to extricate themselves from these demonic forces and try to help them learn how to guide themselves out of this entrapment. I just want to go into a little bit of background about how this trauma bond actually occurs, okay? A lot of the trauma bond is occurring because you are dealing with some demonic forces. These demonic forces are demonic entities that take on the mental disorders in the 3D in the form of narcissistic personalities, bipolar personalities, or people with multiple personality disorders. Now, I'm saying all this to say that because of this, when you engage, or when these people who are energy vampires or, you know, destiny swappers or destiny stealers, however you want to so-called put it or say it, try to manipulate people in order to be able to accomplish this goal. So they manipulate these people by forming trauma bonds, because when you are in a narcissistic relationship, what happens in the beginning is you get love bombed, and then, you know, you go through a period of maybe 2 or 3 months of, you know, thinking that you're in love with this person, and then the next thing you know, that this person starts to discard you And if you are familiar with my page, I posted information about narcissistic people. But just to go on, after discard comes the hoovering stage, where the person tries to actually come back to repeat the same cycle all over again. And I'm explaining all this because it creates a trauma bond. So I want to try to help people how to escape from this energy swapping or destiny stealing. A lot of these people, not only are they narcissistic or bipolar or have multiple personality disorders, like I said, it's a demonic force. So a lot of these people are practicing witchcraft, voodoo, hoodoo, or whatever you want to, satanic rituals, sex rituals, or whatever. Trying to poison people through the food that they cook or feed to you, to try to manipulate you into stealing your destiny in order to keep you in a lower vibration, so they can manipulate you and control you in order for them to be able to steal your energy and steal your destiny. So a lot of these people who are waking up, so to speak, from being in this low vibrational state, or basically trying to ascend, which is leveling up in the spiritual ranking, they go through a trauma bond period. And some of these people don't know how to completely extricate themselves from this, and they end up going back and repeating the same cycle over and over again. Because basically what the narcissistic person or the person with personality disorder does is, after they discard you, they put you up on a shelf, because the whole idea is for you to be trauma bonded to them. So when they want to come back to you and steal your energy or your destiny at another date, after they get tired of using the person that they're with, or what they call supply, they come back to you and make you repeat the same cycle over again. So I'm here today to try to help people try to deliver themselves from that. The number one and most important thing that you have to remember is, in order to break a love spell or somebody who's trying to manipulate you, is to love. Most of the time, that's the reason why you are in the situation that you were in the first place. Because sometimes, in most cases, you have more love for the other person than you do for yourself. So one of the most important things is that you have to have more love for yourself than you have for other people. That is the most important thing. You have to have love for God. That's obviously important. But if you have love for yourself, you don't have love for God, because God is not far from you. The Bible says God created man in his own image, and that means that God is actually inside of you. God is a part of you. You are a part of God. You become disconnected from him through guilt. People let guilt creep in, and it makes them separated. It makes them feel separated from God mentally. But if you're connected to God, you know that he's not far from you, and you know that if you love yourself, then you love God. So that's the number one thing, love. Because the point is how these energy vampires and people with personality disorders separate you from God is when they keep making you repeat the cycle over and over and over again. What happens is it starts to close your heart chakra, your love for yourself and your love for others. So once your heart chakra is closed, then that keeps you in a lower vibration, first of all, because love is the highest vibration that you can be in this world, in this universe. So what these people who are trying to manipulate you are trying to do is actually trying to keep you in a lower vibration. So by making you repeat the cycle over and over again, is keeping you in a lower vibration that allows them to manipulate you. So you have to learn how to love yourself and try to ascend so you can go to a higher vibration, which allows you not to be able to be manipulated, and that's the goal. Okay, so once you realize that you are being manipulated, and hopefully at some point you will recognize that you are being manipulated, because if somebody is stealing your energy, you're going to know that you're not the same. You're going to notice that you're not doing the same things that you normally do. You're going to notice that you are functioning on a lower vibration level, which means that you're going to be filled with lust, and you're going to be filled with addictions, and you're going to be wanting to do what lower vibration people do. And the reason behind this is because it all starts in the 5D, the 5 dimension, the spiritual realm. That's where they attack you at. The spiritual realm. Now, being specific on how the trauma bond starts is in the spiritual, the 5 dimension, these demonic forces, they use witchcraft and other means like poison or whatever to try to manipulate you, like I said, to keep you in a lower vibration. Now, a lot of these demonic entities are infected. They're infected in the 5D because they have a demonic attachment. They have a lustful demon, or an addiction demon, or a Leviathan demon, or a Jezebel demon, or whatever you want to have, so to speak, already attached to them in the 5D. So because of this, they are infected in the 5D. Now those infections trickle down in the 3D, which is the reality of where we're in right now, in the form of diseases as well. Diseases like cancer, diseases like HIV, which everyone knows leads to AIDS or any other sexually transmitted disease, because when they are transmitting this disease, or sexually STD means sexually transmitted disease, but it also at the same time means in the 5D sexually transmitted demon. So like I said, it all starts in the 5D and it trickles down to the 3D. So if somebody's infected with a demon in the 5D, the 5 dimension, and it trickles down to the 3 dimension, which is reality, then that infection of that demonic spirit it manifests into reality as disease. So when you get involved with these entities, or people who are infected with these entities, and they try to infect you with these entities by creating a trauma bond, then you allow yourself to be infected also with these STDs, sexually transmitted demons in the 5D, which comes down to sexually transmitted diseases in the 3D in reality. Okay, so how do you extricate yourself from this trauma bond? Like I said, love is the best way. Love for yourself, love for God. Stay in constant prayer. If you feel like you're under attack, or if you feel like somebody's trying to steal your destiny, try to protect your destiny by taking spiritual baths and showing yourself love, and staying reverent in prayer, and working on yourself in order to ascend. It's this working on yourself part that I want to talk about today. If you've been following me, and you know, you've been watching my page, you know I've been constantly talking about a shift that's occurring right now. Some of us who are truly divinely guided in this 3 dimension and 5 dimension can feel this shift happening right now. The shift that's occurring is the evil in the world is about to be eradicated. The devil is about to be defeated. Just like in the Bible says the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. This is the era that we're moving into. This is the age that is coming. This is the shift that is happening. The fact that I'm on here today trying to help people is proof that this shift is happening, because there's a lot of people that talk about it. The tarot readers tell you what's going on. Other people tell you about narcissists, but there's very few videos out there that actually tell you how to extricate yourself from this. I'm here today to try to help you extricate yourself from this trauma bond. Love is the #1 way. Love for yourself, love for God. So how do you bring this shift upon in yourself? Okay, so the shift that's happening right now is happening because people are deciding to challenge the old way things are happening in the world. Evolution. Evolution of the world. So what I want to talk to you about here today is evolution of yourself, because you are a part of the collective. Either you're part of the bad collective, the dark collective, the evil collective, or you're part of the light collective, the good collective, the God collective, the spirit collective. I'm here specifically to try to help the people that are a part of the dark collective, that know that what's wrong is wrong and what's right is right, and how to cross over. And some of the people that are in the light collective, that are, because you're in the light collective, you are subject to be trauma bonded, because if you're part of the light collective, you already understand that love is the #1 key to ascending or becoming closer to the spirit, become closer to God. So you are acceptable to being trauma bond because of this reason. So the fact that I'm going to give you this information today will help you kind of enlighten yourself, and also help you, your discernment when it comes to dealing with other people. How to help yourself and your spirit recognize when you are being subjected to this entity. Okay, so we're talking about the dark night of the soul. This is after you done been with the narcissist or the demonic spirit, and they done discarded you. They done threw you off, and they done left you, and they didn't leave you no closure. They just ghosted you, and you just like, what the just happened? You feel me? So during this period, you normally might feel like you ain't worth nothing. What did I do? Why am I not worthy to that person, or whatever? When I just want to just tell people, most of the time it's not even your fault. So when something like this happens, I know what I'm about to say is not going to make sense, because you're going to have feelings for the person, but don't take it personal, because it's not your fault. That's the first thing. What we have to realize is that there's good in the world and there's evil in the world. And it's the people that's of the light collectives are the ones that are more acceptable to being trauma bond than the people in the dark collective, because that's what they like. They're demonic. They like that. They like making people go through these cycles. They like being in these cycles because of the pleasure that they receive from it. It's such a low vibrational pleasure. Like they have sex with multiple people, maybe even gang bangs, or, you know, these cults and covens have sex rituals, which means that they've, you know, having sex with each other all at one time. So they all are infected with these sexual transmitted demons, which means that they're all infected with sexual diseases like HIV in the 3D. That's the reason why I put the warning out there for the city of Youngstown that there's a lot of people in the city of Youngstown that are infected with HIV. Not only are they infected with HIV, but they are knowingly spreading HIV in the city of Youngstown. So back to how do you extricate yourself from this trauma bond? Like I said, most of the people, what it requires a paradigm shift of how you think. It requires you deciding to challenge your old way of thinking. So when you go through this trauma bond, or you enter the dark night of the soul, which means after you've been discarded, you have to figure out, how do you heal? So you heal by loving yourself, which means you have to go into a period of isolation, or what you might want to consider it as a period of sanctification, because what sanctification means is that God sets you aside for his purpose. That's what sanctification means. A lot of people, especially these demonic entities, they are codependent on you. That's correct. They are codependent, which means that they cannot be alone. They cannot be isolated. They cannot handle being alone or being isolated. They have to be with someone. So if you know someone like this, then they're demonic. If you know somebody that can't be alone, they have to be with somebody, they are codependent, and they're demonic. Period. So when you've been discarded and you're going through the dark night of the soul and you're trying to figure out what the hell, why this person ghosted me, or what did I do? Why am I not worthy? First of all, you have to realize that you are worthy. You're worthy enough of your own self-love. Just like I posted on my site, on my page, you need to recall your energy. You need to recall your power. You need to recall your destiny. Now, the reason why this is important is because if people are trying to steal your energy and they're trying to steal your destiny, and your destiny, so to speak, could be that you are supposed to be successful, and that's the only reason why this demonic entity want to be attached to you in the first place, is because of your light, your destiny. Energy is not only in the form of energy, your sacral energy, which I'm talking about now, your sex, so your sexual energy, your sacred energy. That's the reason why it's called sacral chakra, is because it's your sacred energy. These energy vampires that's what they want from you. But energy doesn't stop there. What a lot of people don't understand is that money is energy. This is the reason why these energy vampires want to steal your energy in the first place, is because money is energy. So, back to how do we extricate ourselves from this going through the dark night of the soul. I want to talk a little bit about cognitive therapy. A lot of these people who have been trauma bond need to see a therapist, a psychiatrist, or a therapist, or a counselor, or somebody. You need help. Because if you don't get help, then you're subjecting yourself to repeating the same cycle over again. But if you know about cognitive therapy, let me break down what that means. Cognitive therapy means very careful and thoughtful consideration. Repeat that. Cognitive therapy is very careful and thoughtful consideration. That means that when you're in the dark night of the soul, this is what you have to go through. Very careful and thoughtful consideration. What has to occur is, what we have to do is, we have to start challenging some of our beliefs, some of our old ways of thinking that our parents, grandparents, the world have programmed us to be. We are all victims of programming. MK Ultra. Your great-grandparents were subjected to MK Ultra. Your grandparents were subjected to MK Ultra. Your parents were subjected to MK Ultra. And you were subjected to MK Ultra, which means that you've been programmed all your life from other people that have been programmed. So we have to learn how to shift or challenge some of this programming. Some of this programming is the reason why you allow yourself to be subjected to being trauma bond. Now, one of the reasons why I say that is because when you get trauma bond, you think that people should act a certain way. They should do this. The world should be fair, or, you know, that creates a trauma bond, because when the world is not fair or people are not doing certain things that they should do in a normal relationship, it causes you to be trauma bond because you end up having disturbed thinking. And when you have disturbed thinking, what happens is you have disturbed emotions, because whatever you believe turns into an emotion, and then whatever you feel actually turns into an action, an event. So this is what creates a trauma bond. So through cognitive thinking and cognitive therapy, what it allows you to do is it allows you to challenge your thinking and make a shift from, instead of having a disturbed thinking or belief, into a distress thinking or belief. Yeah, that's right. It's better to have a distress reaction opposed to a disturbed reaction, because a disturbed reaction could become very negative and harmful, not only to yourself, but possibly to someone else. So I'm here to try to educate people on how to have a distress reaction compared to a disturbed reaction through cognitive therapy, through careful thinking and evaluation of yourself, of other people, and of the world that's around you. Now, I posted this before on my site, but I want to go try to explain it a little bit in detail, okay, of how the format, the basis of how we are going to do that. If you can see this, it's that simple. It's as simple as A, B, C, D, E. Let me explain. I'm going to try to explain this in a way that everybody can understand through cognitive thinking. B stands for the beliefs that we have. These beliefs are instilled in us from our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our parents, and ourselves, of the world that we have accepted to believe, okay? Because we believe certain things, they turn into emotions. Because once you have a set of values and beliefs and they become a part of you, they become interstand. That means it becomes a part of you. It's a part of you. It happens without you even thinking. Automatic reaction. Because what you believe turns into emotion, which causes you to react. A. What you believe turns into an emotion, which causes you to act a certain event that happens in your life. And let me explain. If you love somebody, if you believe that love is supposed to be fair, and you love somebody, which creates an emotion of love, and you give to another person, and obviously you believe that because you love that person, they're supposed to give back to you, and they don't. It creates an action. This action could be hatred to yourself and towards the other person. when you hate someone, you closing off your heart chakra. That's what the demonic spirits want you to do, because that's going to be a way for them to keep you in a lower vibration in order for them to continue to manipulate you. So how do we extricate ourselves from this? We extricate ourselves from this thinking through C and D. Right? First of all, you have to, I'm writing a book right now, it's called How to Change. And how to change, first of all, is you have to decide that you want to change. That's the first step. Okay? Like all the people that's on the dark side, they're there because that's what they want. They want to be there. They don't want to change. Because the lust is so good and they enjoy it so much that they don't want to change. So that's the reason why they're there. Got that? Okay. Not only is it going to take for you to decide that you want to change, but before you decide that you want to change, you have to have the desire to change. That's the number one thing. From the book of How to Win Friends and Influence People, the best way to get somebody to do something that you want them to do is to create an honest and sincere desire in them. So in order for you to want to change yourself, you have to create an honest and sincere desire for you to change yourself. Once you decide that you want to change and you have this honest and burning desire inside of you to change, then you have to start challenging your beliefs. Once you start challenging your beliefs, then once you start reprogramming yourself into new beliefs, then you have new actions, or you create new events into your life, hopefully more positive, because your new beliefs that are being replaced by the old beliefs are of a higher vibration, which creates more of positive or higher vibration events in your life instead of negative vibration or events in your life, which creates better emotions in your life. And these emotions create a better action plan, better actions or events or responses to events. Let me make this very clear. The very two most important ones in this cognitive thinking aspect are B and E. That's right. B and E. We all know what B and E mean in the street lingo, right? B and E. B and E means somebody trying to break in, right? Okay, so all jokes aside, B and E are the most important, okay? Basically, what's happening is your own beliefs and your own emotions are breaking and entering in on you, causing you to have disturbed outcome, disturbed thinking, disturbed actions, disturbed events. Because you're in a lower vibration, you attract lower vibration things and lower vibration events in your life. Disturbed thinking. This is probably the best diagram from the book of Cognitive Thinking for Dummies. See that? How A, B, and C affects you. How your beliefs create emotions. And how your emotions create events. And just to bring home the point, it's about perception. You can have an argument with a person and both people could be right. That's the reason why mature people come to the realization sometimes that it's better to agree to disagree. So this is the point that drives that home. See, in this picture, there's two perspectives. There's an old lady and there's a young lady. And sometimes, according to what you see first, will tell you what type of vibration that you are in. Because people that are in a higher vibration normally see the younger lady first. If you take away the neck from this person and you just look all you see is the young person. You see the young lady right there? But if I reveal the lower part, as you can see, the lower part, lower vibration, you can see the old lady's face. So I'm saying this to say that that's how your mind works. When you're in a higher vibration, you see things from one perspective. When you're in a lower vibration, you see things from a lower vibration. So how do you get to this lower vibration or to a higher vibration? You get through this lower vibration and higher vibrations by having distorted thinking. Some of the ways that we have this distorted thinking is what we do is, the first thing we do is we could catastrophize things, which means that, oh my God, I broke up with somebody. Oh, I'm never going to be in another relationship again. You catastrophize everything, which means you make a mountain out of a molehill. And then you stay stuck on that, which keeps you in a lower vibration. Or you might have what you call all or nothing thinking, which is you look at things from a black or white standpoint, as either it's this way or it's either that way. Oh, well, you know, that person was totally bad, or either I'm totally bad, or shit, I'm bad, and that or that person is good, or whatever. You look at it in black and white from a black and white standpoint. That's disturbed thinking. Or you might, some people, what they have the mental distorted thinking by what's called making demands. Not only do you make demands on yourself, you make demands on other people, and you make demands on the world. You think things should be this way, or things should be that way, and you accept this as a belief. And because you accept that as a belief, you have no in between, which means that because you think it should be this way and you think it should be that way, like you think that when you're in love with a person should love you back, and and because you're a good person, the other person should be a good person. And that way, that doesn't allow any belief for if it is bad people out there, because there's evil people in the world. And then if you do get with somebody that's evil, then it causes you to have a disturbed reaction because of your disturbed thinking. It's a thinking error because you don't allow enough room for the negative or the bad to occur. Okay, so another disturbed method of thinking is fortune telling. When you try to predict what another person is thinking. And because your belief system is so distorted, that because what you think of what another person is thinking, it causes you to have a disturbed belief, cause you to have a disturbed emotion, it causes you to have a disturbed reaction. Again, closing your heart chakra, becoming a mean person, becoming an evil person because of your disturbed thinking. Another form of disturbed thinking is mind reading. We try to assume what another person thinks, and we all know, I don't even have to explain that one, because we all know what assume means. Assume means that when you make an ass out of you and me, simple as that. I mean, shit, that's self-explanatory, right? Another disturbed thinking is called emotional reasoning. That's when you try to make how you feel into a finality. Oh, well, I feel bad, so therefore I am bad. Disturbed. That's disturbed. Like I said, I'm here to try to help people move from having a disturbed thinking to a distressed thinking. It's better to be disappointed than to have a disturbed reaction because of your thinking. Another thinking error is overgeneralizing. That's when you are in the mindset of, oh, I always make mistakes, or I never get things right. Because you accept this as belief, and because this constantly occurs over and over again, because you're in a lower vibration state, that you believe it. And again, once you believe something, it turns into an emotion, which causes you to have a reaction, right? A, B, C, right? Because you believe that you always mess up or you never get things right. It causes you to feel like you're worthless, which causes you to become depressed, which causes you to be antisocial, which causes you to have a negative mental disorder. Like depression is a mental disorder, bipolar is a mental disorder, multi-personality disorder is a mental disorder. It's all mental disorder. So I'm here to try to help you move from that. Another distorted method of thinking is called labeling. We all guilty of it. We all know what the hell labeling. Oh, she a bitch, or he's an asshole, or she's a slut, or you know, she's a bad person, or you know, the world is mean. You know, all these things are labels. Whereas when you go on the inside and you use these methods of thinking to try to shift yourself from, well, maybe the world ain't so bad. I've had good encounters in my life. And you start to change your belief, which starts to change your emotions on how you feel about the world. No, maybe the world ain't so bad. And then once you decide that maybe the world ain't so bad, you have to start to have different actions or events in your life, which means you raise your vibration. You start to attract more higher level vibration things in your life when you start to change your belief system. This is the shift that I'm talking about. Another disturbed method of thinking is called mental filtering, and that's when you only let information in that fits the narrative. Like again, like if you think everything is bad, you always do stuff that's bad, then that's what's going to happen to you. It's going to be bad. Your beliefs create emotions. Your emotion create actions. Another disturbed thinking is disqualifying the negative. That is when you only let negative thoughts get creep in, and you let that dominate your whole way of thinking. Negative is lower vibration. Positive is higher vibration. When you are in a trauma bond, it is natural for you to think that you are negative, or anything that is negative is easy to associate with yourself, the other person, and the world. So I'm here to try to help people educate themselves from this type of thinking, okay, to try to deliver yourself from a lower vibration into a higher vibration. And that's the goal, because that's the only way you can ascend. That's the only way that you're going to extricate yourself from the dark night of the soul, or either go to a therapist, a professional psychiatrist, or a counselor to help you walk through this. The next distorted method of thinking is called NFT, which is non-frustration tolerance. This is the reason why a lot of these demonic entities do not like or want to be alone, because they can't handle non-frustration tolerance. And what I mean by that is that when we experience this non-frustration tolerance, we experience the fact that anything that's unreasonable or intolerable is unbearable. Like oh my God, what am I going to do? I can't make it through this. If you feel like that, you have no frustration tolerance, because you can make it through it. The way to make it through it is change your thinking, love yourself. Another distorted thinking is what they call personalizing. You all know it. It's easy to take being in a relationship that you thought that should be fair because you love the person, you thought that they should love you back, that ultimately, if it don't work out, the first thing you're gonna do is really take it personal. When in reality, if you were with one of these energy vampires or somebody with multi-personality disorder or somebody that is infected with a demonic spirit, it's easy to try to take it personally when the best way to not have a distorted method of thinking is to accept the fact that it was just an illusion. Because these demonic spirits and these narcissistic bipolar people are only in relationships because they want to get something from you, and they don't even really love you. Even if you are a loving, kind person, you're just in an illusion. So therefore, it's easy for you not to take it personal. And I know that's what sends you into the dark night of the soul. That's what kind of makes you feel like you're not worthy, but you have to remember that you are worthy and love yourself. Because that's the only way you're going to extricate yourself from this low vibration. I'm here to try to help you with that. The last distorted method of thinking is disqualifying the positive, and that's when you are having an event in your life, a negative event in your life, and you don't want to consider nothing positive in the event. You don't want to look at the other side of the coin. All you want to do is focus on what the negative is. You disqualify the positive. You don't want to consider nothing of the positive. So, once again, when you feel like that you are in this low vibrational state, or when you're going through the dark night of the soul, I challenge you to use the ABC method. Sometimes it's helpful to get a piece of paper and remember B and E are the most important ones. So right at the top of the paper, B and E, because your thoughts are trying to make a break and entering on you. And when these demonic forces are putting you into this trauma bond state, they're trying to keep you in a low vibration so they can manipulate you. So it's very important for you to know that your beliefs cause your emotions. So challenge, first you have to decide and have the burning desire to want to challenge yourself or want to change your beliefs, which affect your emotions, which affects the outcome or events that you have, which catapults you from having a disturbed reaction to being angry and closing off your chakra, your heart chakra, becoming hateful, because maybe some people, like myself, have been trauma bonded over and over and over again in their life because they have been in so many failed relationships that you get to a point where it's easy for your heart to be closed off, which keeps you in a lower vibration, which makes you more susceptible to these demonic forces. So once you start to challenge these beliefs that have been programmed all your life, instead of having a disturbed reaction, you have a distressed reaction. It's better to be disappointed or upset than to be angry and depressed. Because when you're angry, the first thing you want to do is you want to hurt somebody. When you're distressed, you can sit with that and be like, shit, maybe it'll be better next time. you know, when you fall down, you try again. You get up, you try again. When you have a disturbed event or a disturbed reaction, I'm saying a distressed reaction compared to a disturbed reaction. It's better to be disappointed, frustrated, aggravated, than to be angry, which is going to lead to hatred, resentment for yourself, hatred for yourself, hatred for other people, hatred for the world. Close off your heart chakra, keep you in a lower vibration, make you more susceptible to these demonic forces, makes you a whole lot more easier to be manipulated. Now you see what I was talking about in the beginning. Love yourself. Love yourself. You love others. Love comes from God. That's the greatest command. God said, I leave you, and the greatest command I leave you with is to love one another. And I know it's hard. It's hard when you know that the world is infected with evil and demonic forces and you are part of it. And you encounter this. So when you do, you need to go through the dark night of the soul. It's hard. Because you do a lot of purging during the dark night of the soul, because you come to a lot of the realization that some of the way that you think is partly your fault because you accepted it. Like, how could you let yourself be subjected to an illusion of somebody, of believing that somebody loves you and they really don't? That will cause you to purge. Because it's partly you accepted that thinking. It's during this purging state that you have to work with yourself from within. And I just want to share something with people, and because I'm still purging. I worked for a company one time, and this company spent $3,000 to send me to a seminar. A couple seminars, actually. I'm so grateful I had the opportunity to work for this company. One of the seminars they sent me to was called the Firewalk. That was the title of the seminar. Anthony Robbins was the co-speaker of the seminar. And it was called the Firewalk. The premise of the seminar was to do what you fear most and you control the fear. So on the very first day of the seminar, they got these coals that are in the seminar, in the ballroom, and they got these coals that are so hot that they're white, right? So there were people that actually walked over the hot coals the very first day of the seminar. The seminar was like 3 days long. So, make a long story short, I didn't walk over the coals until the third day of the seminar. It was either do or you don't, okay? Because it would have, if I don't, it would have been a waste of the $3,000. So, point is, I did it on the very last day, but it was after learning some of the things that he had to say about how to make a change, a pragmatic shift, which means how to have a paradigm shift, which is how to make an instant shift. And I'm trying to explain some of this because a lot of people don't want to change because they want to accept the old belief and they don't want to change. But the best way to try to motivate yourself to change it in order to have a pragmatic shift, which to make it instant, is to change your association. And what I mean by that is that when, just give you an example, the devil entities of the dark collective, they're there because they want to be there, because they have and they derive pleasure from being there. That's what they associate with it. That's the reason why they like it, because they derive pleasure from it. Where on the other hand, if there's not pleasure, there's going to be pain. So the reason why a lot of these people are on the dark collective is because it's very painful for them to try to go through the dark night of the soul in order to cross over to the light collective. So I'm saying this to say that the only way sometime to change is to have a pragmatic shift by changing your association. So if you, for instance, I seen a guy at the seminar, he was afraid of snakes. And he was afraid of snakes because the way that he thought about snakes, the association that he had about snakes. Snakes hurt, snakes bite, they're evil, whatever. And because Anthony Robbins changed his association, instead of thinking bad about snakes and thought good things about snakes, the guy was instantly not afraid of snakes. Like, I seen a guy be terrified of snakes in one instance and then sit on the stage with a big snake around his neck. I seen a guy who was a chronic smoker, which means smoke back to back to back to back to back. I seen a guy stop smoking instantly because the association that he had with cigarettes is because he gets some type of pre-derived pleasure from it. It calms him down, it makes him look cool, whatever he associated with the feeling good part of smoking cigarettes. Whereas on the other hand, if you look at the pain part of it and change your association, which is the pain part of it, if you smoke cigarettes, you're gonna get cancer, you're eventually gonna die early, it's gonna cause all kind of lung problems in your life, you ain't gonna be able to be as mobile as other people, you're not gonna be able to walk as far as other people, you're not gonna be able to do all the things that other normal people do that don't smoke. So if you change your association and start focusing on those things, then it's easy for you to make a paradigm shift. So I've been on here for almost an hour, and I'm gonna close it out right now because I don't like being in watching long videos. So I'm gonna try to give y'all little bits and pieces of this to try to help you guys, especially in the city of Youngstown. But this doesn't just want to be limited to the city of Youngstown because there's evil all over the world. And I want people to know that you don't have to stay in a low vibrational state. You can change your vibrational state. That's it. Until the next time we meet and greet, Ashe, Namaste, I bid you adieu. Peace.